This ball is crushed. Man, what a shot.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the HIT.OR.DIE podcast with your hosts Jake Saldati and Chad Rothford. Guest today is none other than, he's from Madera, but he's a San Joaquin Memorial standout.
Had to throw that in. Yep. Got to crowbar that in there.
You know me, come on, I gotta do it. There's no hate or anything. Tanner Sagouspe on his way to Cal Poly next week. We are just ecstatic to have him on the show. Thanks for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm pumped to kick this off.
This has been, what, 2.5 weeks in the making?
Yeah, so I guess I can say it now. It's coming. I had COVID 2 weeks ago, and don't worry, I kicked its ass. Even though I'm fat, overweight, and should have had health problems, I didn't.
And you were vaccinated.
And I was vaccinated and got it. But yeah, I whooped its ass. But then my wife got it, so we had to. She whooped its ass too.
Yeah,
she's not vaccinated.
Yeah, but we've been putting this off.
We've been putting this off so I could get healthy, and I actually had to miss baseball too, which sucks. 2 weeks of baseball. So, but I'm back. We're ready to go.
A lot of things have gone down.
A lot
since we've been away. You had Miggy get 500. Big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you were a baby when he was coming. I mean, because it's been 20 years. Were you even born?
Well, yeah, 20. He's 18.
You're 18. Yeah. So that was a guy like, what was the first World Series? Was it?
Yeah, when he was with the Marlins and he went yard off of, wasn't it the Yankees?
Yeah, it was the Yankees.
He went Oppo Taco. And he was like 6'4", like,
was it like 2001?
210, just
2000?
Yeah,
I forget.
It was like him and Andrew Jones are like the first rookies to ever like homer in a World Series, I think, or something like that. Don't quote me on it, but something.
Yeah,
like
so he got to the 500 milestone, so good for him. And Yachty is hanging it up next year.
Mm-hmm.
Going to go through the 2022 season being a catcher. Is that one of your guys?
Yeah, I watched Yachty a lot growing up. They've always been a little bit of a playoff rival for the Giants. I'm a Giants fan, by the way.
So you're a Posey guy.
More of a Posey guy. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, no, I've always loved watching Yachty, and his stuff's still amazing. Like, did you see the guy he picked off? Was it yesterday or 2 days ago?
No, I didn't see it.
Picked him off at first, and it was just like,
not surprised.
Still has it in the tank.
Yeah, no, he does. The guy can play
for sure.
YouTube challenge, Chad, still going strong?
As far as I know, that tattoo ain't coming soon for me. So,
and then Thumb Pro.
Yeah. Okay. So, I saw this on social media, and I use the old school Thumb Pro, where it's just the circle. Thumb Pro, but the old school
Thumb guard.
You've used it before,
and
I started using that in college. You know, once you see velocity and movement as a hitter, trust me, it's a lifesaver for you to stay in games and protect your hands. And I used one from then on out, from college all the way through pro ball. And then I saw this design, and I'm like, dude, that design makes more sense, you know, to your hands and the fit. So I really liked it. I reached out to him, said I loved it. Was wanting to get one for our giveaway, which we have one for the giveaway that we're gonna do sometime soon. I guess we haven't even talked about it, but. Yeah, they sent them to us. I love it. We're actually affiliate with them now. If you want to get yours, we have them at the code. There's a code, HIT.OR.DIE. You get 15% off, and we'll post the.
It's free shipping.
Free shipping
always,
mm-hmm.
And then it comes with a cinch bag too.
Yeah, which is really nice. So, and we ordered actually 3 of them. So we'll have a large, medium, and small. And Jake and I will start taking them out and doing demos around the.
I know you're gonna have some of the city guys.
Yeah, I'll have the city guys do them this week and test them out and get some video and some feedback. So we just want to thank Thumb Pro for letting us be a part of it.
Yeah, go. You can follow them on social media at Thumb Pro. Then you also had the Little League World Series. I mean, no international play, so I don't know. I didn't watch a ton of it. I know you watched.
The Little League World Series doesn't even matter anymore because nobody plays Little League.
Yep.
It's all travel ball. Like, there's no reason why River Park Little League shouldn't be one of the top Little Leagues in the state of California.
They once were, right? They were.
Oh, yeah. When Fergie played, they were one game away from going to the World Series. I mean, I'm just saying, you want to And that means all the Clovis schools can play River Park. I mean, they should be freaking good, but it's not a thing anymore.
They were good when I played. That was kind of right when travel ball started kicking up a little bit more. But yeah, River Park was their team was stacked. It's Saldivar and Austin and Josh and all them, and it was they were stacked for sure. But
My biggest issue was like the umpiring.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Like, and I saw a lot of comments on it. Do you remember your little league umpires? I remember ours were, that's different, right? You need volunteers. You need people to.
Yeah, but not for the World
They're not
Series.
even volunteers. Our little league paid them. You got paid to umpire.
I did a couple games.
Yeah, I did too.
yeah, I did the year out of Little League when I was 13. I was umping games, and I know Josh Castro was umping too. So
That's funny.
So,
I know, like in Babe Ruth, when we got out of it, our high school coach would make the players go umpire, which was good. That's good. You should do that stuff. But for the World Series, I mean, it was bad. Like, you're literally taking the bat out of kids' hands. It's just like you've got the TV rights with ESPN, and you can't get some real umpires.
Mm.
Yeah.
And is it a real World Series? I don't want to take anything away from the kids, but no international teams played.
Well, I mean, in the big leagues, it's the World Series with all American teams. I know there's international players on them, but that was due to COVID. We didn't have one in 2020 and 2021. As you saw, they had brackets, so they had more U.S. teams in it. So, in a sense, I kind of liked it because more U.S. teams got opportunities to win the World Series. But I totally understand having the international champion playing the American champion.
And you had some cool, some nice plays, some big hits. They could throw a no-hitter and then 5 2/3, I think, a no-hit.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I feel like it'd be nice to see, and you brought this up, like, is it time to make it a little bigger? Like, do we need a pony style? Like, you said Cal Ripken.
Cal Ripken does pony, and so Bullard's Cal Ripken. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's Madera? You guys Little League?
We're Little League here.
We're Little League, and then Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth?
Yeah.
So in pony, in Cal Ripken, I think they do the 60-foot bases. Or no, what is it? 55,
I don't know.
55, because it's
55, 80,
65, right? Yeah, 55 and 80. But the Little League, they were using big barrels.
Yeah.
And I was like, hold up. You guys have the same field, and now you're using big barrels in Little League? Like, what happened to the Little League barrel? Like, I know Pony uses big barrels, but they have 55 feet. You can lead off.
You can lead off, yeah.
And it's a bigger fence. I
Little,
think.
yeah,
Yeah,
little
and it's a
deeper.
bigger field.
Park, yeah.
So I agree. The field should get moved back. But then again, it's like, but it's always been Little League like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know,
For some guys, it just doesn't even look challenging at all.
No.
And then I was reading that I want to say it was the team that won is it Michigan? One of their guys was brought on just to play
Well, so is the pitcher.
for the all. I think that's who it is.
So is the lefty pitcher,
Yeah.
the Weir, that got the
like didn't even play in that Little League.
Oh yeah, because
No.
he was playing with
Association.
14-year-olds
Yeah.
in Babe Ruth, and they brought him on to play in the Little League World Series because they even said it on TV. I was like, I can't believe you just said that on
Yeah.
TV, because he was talking even about his teammates accepting him as being part of the team.
That used to be the biggest thing, like with that. I think it was my Little League year, or the year after. I forgot where they were from, but
it was Almonte from New York.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And they had they were all like a year older or whatever. But
I think he was like 15.
Yeah. But I mean, they were all playing Babe Ruth and stuff. It's a big difference to pitch from a 60-foot mound, go down to a 45 or whatever it is. But it's like
Just carving guys up. It's not even fair.
And I feel like they should have to be a part of that team. I mean, I get it. It's an all-star team from your leagues. Like, I know for Cal Ripken or Bullard, we had everybody played on their team. Then you had all-star team. And then that all-star team played to go to the World Series or whatever it is. So
And then you had the kid from Hawaii who pitched both right-hand, left-handed.
that's pretty cool.
yeah.
It was great. He didn't go. He didn't go with the team from Hawaii. They weren't sure of whether or not Little League was going to happen, and let alone the Little League World Series, or whether or not your team's even going to get that far. It's got to be super challenging. I'm sure it's really hard to do. And that, like a year ago, they had made a commitment to go to a USA event in Carolina. So he stayed committed to that versus going to the Little League World Series. And like, I don't know.
I would not.
You
I would go to the World Series. If you're okay, first of all, you're not even in junior high yet, and you're worried about going to a USA event. And this is where it comes back into, are you really worried about your rankings for a 12-year-old?
Yeah, but I also think like maybe good on them for honoring the commitment they made a year in advance. I mean, I know
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
You're right.
And this might have been the one year where it was easier to get in because there was more teams.
Again, I think it's the circumstance where like we were talking about going to a workout rather than your playoff game. What you would do, huh?
What?
You would go to a workout. No, you wouldn't do it? Really?
Hell no.
Go figure.
Well, that's the thing. Is that considered a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity?
No,
Because
it's
then
not.
That goes with
It is. But
The Little League World Series
okay,
is.
yeah,
If
but
you're already on USA's
but
radar,
he was on that
the next
Little
year's another chance to
but
go
he was
back
on
to
the Little League team.
Yeah.
Okay. He wasn't thinking they were gonna. It's like being on Memorial's team. I don't know if we're gonna make it to the playoffs. I have this USA event in May. Oh crap, we go to the playoffs. What are you gonna do? You gonna go to the USA event or you're gonna go to the playoffs?
You're waiting around until you lose.
That's what I'm saying.
I got you.
So he made a commitment to the Little League. Yes, we also made a commitment to this event.
Like if Little League was still going, that should be
the priority.
like we did make these plans before.
Yes.
But we were under the assumption that Little League wasn't going to continue. We weren't going to win.
Exactly.
And as we kept winning and make the trip to Williamsport,
that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I agree with
Exactly.
you. I guess it's, to each their own. I guess everybody's going to have their opinion on it. I didn't think, like, I agree with you. The once in a lifetime, like, dude, that's one time, one and done.
I mean, he's 12 going to the Cary, North Carolina thing, which I guarantee you, if he's on the radar at 12, that's what I'm saying.
13,
radar.
14,
He's on the radar. The workout, you're on the radar already. Like, he's not going to the North Carolina to get on the radar because that's an invite only thing. So he's already on the radar. So guess what? Next year, you'll probably be on the radar again. And you might be, a little bit more respected for staying with your first commitment that you had, and it looks good on your character.
Well, I think some people are looking at it like, well, the USA thing was his first commitment because they weren't sure Little League was going to happen at all.
Yeah.
So I get both ways. I just thought it was interesting and a good topic. I mean, you're not going to criticize a 12-year-old kid for
it's not. Ultimately, any parent can say it's their decision. The parent's not going to leave a decision
100%.
up to a 12-year-old.
Yeah, for sure. No, I just thought that was an interesting topic to bring up.
Yeah.
Again, because it does go back to that. Like, we're not missing. I mean, you guys work to win a ring. Our only option in high school, other than this year with the state playoffs, finally, but before that was to win a Valley title.
Mm-hmm.
So
you got to honor that commitment and just roll out with it no matter what comes up.
So you are you have a ring for football also.
I do.
I know you're not quite in school. Do they play? Is it not this weekend? Do they play Cal Poly?
Oh, for state?
Fresno
For
State?
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
they
weekend.
play
This weekend?
on Saturday.
So you're not yet on campus.
No, but it's at Fresno State, so I'll be there.
But I'm saying, who you going for?
What do you think
Cal
who he's
Poly.
going for?
100%.
Underdog.
No.
They got to keep up that FCS.
I gotta say,
FCS
I thought they played real well. Other than obviously the turnovers.
turnovers.
But I mean, Oregon's offense, like these guys are ranked a lot.
Yeah.
And I know it was game one. And I'm not anywhere near an expert on football, but
That's not our lane.
no. But I love watching the Dogs, man. I was jacked. I was listening on the radio, trying to get home to go watch.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro.
Yeah. It's all right.
Hey, they're going down.
I mean,
Was football an option? Did you ever like?
I grew up playing football. I actually didn't start taking baseball seriously until 6th, 7th. Oh, I mean, we played Little League, but I was all in on football. My family's been a football family. Growing up, like I told you before, at Madera High, my grandpa played there. Played football at Reedley, and then my dad was a city county all-star for Madera and stuff. And I grew up. I love football, but I was just kind of I got a few too many injuries, and I kind of hung it up after 6th grade. And then I was like, I gotta give it one more shot in high school. Kind of just did it for fun. Eddie and I actually went out midway through the season. It was kind of a last minute, not even last minute. It was a late decision. We're like, we're just gonna do it, and we went out, and I don't regret it at all. One thing I regret in high school is not playing football all 4 years.
All 4 years?
All 4 years. That's something after I graduated, I realized that I wish I played all 4 years. And I think it also had to do with senior year or junior year baseball getting cut short. I was like, I really wish that I did more my junior year. And I think that football was one of the things that would have been kind of
because they played.
Yeah, they played, and obviously like I wouldn't be able to play senior year football more than likely unless I was really bought into it. But yeah, that's one thing out of everything. One thing I regret was not playing football 4 years.
We had a member of the podcast, Donnie Walton, who's a good friend of your former college. Well, the son
of my
the
college
son
coach.
of your former college coach. But Donnie Walton plays for Tacoma, and they were playing the was it Reno?
Reno.
And Henry Ramos hits a bomb, and apparently pimped it. You don't see that part in the clip. It starts here. We're gonna break this down from a fundamental standpoint.
Oh yeah, I
And-
actually just saw this.
Did you?
Yeah.
So this dude hits a bomb, and talking shit, and there's Donnie around the bases. And then he chases. I love that he runs. And what's the umpire trying to do? Oh shit! And then he throws the helmet. Like, and he doesn't connect. Like, that's a
The
little
helmet connects.
Yes, yeah, but that's a little.
And then he
push
went for a cheap
jab.
shot.
And then Chad's favorite is look at him.
He runs away.
Like-
There he goes. He's out of the picture.
And the music in the background's really funny. I know I don't have the volume on here. I'll put it on the video right when we post this.
All he does is run
And then
away.
the best is right here. Watch the mascot above the dugout. Right after this shot. It's some of the funniest shit you'll find. He's doing like Karate Kid. He's doing the Karate Kid move. Right here. Look at him. Watch this guy. And then right here.
It's minor league baseball for you.
So you talked to Donnie
Yeah.
about this.
So I just said, hey, I wish that you would have been able to get something in because he kind of threw the helmet and sucker punched you and then ran away. And I was like, by the way, what exactly did he say to you for you to actually run after him? Because he's got, and he's like, he just turned to me and he said, fuck you. And he's like, but supposedly he didn't tell me anything else. He just told me that. But you told me there's more to the story.
Well, no. What should have happened to this dude? Like if a big leaguer chucked his helmet at somebody, what do you think they get suspended?
Bryce Harper did with Strickland.
And did he get suspended?
I think they did.
I think they did, but only for like a couple games or something.
And Donnie got some revenge. I think he hit a bomb the
Hit a
next
bomb
day.
the next night. Yeah.
That guy got his first hit in the big leagues last night.
He got called up.
Ramos?
Yeah,
For the Diamondbacks?
for the Diamondbacks.
Well, what's the call on this play? He never touched third or home.
I don't even know. They're kicking their ass. It was 11-2 at the time.
Didn't matter too much, but
In the bottom of the seventh, yeah, there you go. But yeah, he gets called up literally days later. I don't even know when. And gets his first hit last night.
You got rewarded. But there might be more to it because I read some stuff. The Tacoma, or the MILB Mariners posted that this isn't the first
Yes,
occurrence
they did
with
post
Ramos that they've had during the season. So there's probably some extracurricular stuff that's gone on with him. He seems like a flashy guy as it is. And then he just kind of took it too far. And I'm sure a lot of the players and, Donnie's been there for probably all of it and had enough too,
I wonder if they felt like the safest thing was to call him up. Because that series continued for 3 more days.
They wouldn't make a decision like
I
that.
don't. Yeah, I know, but I mean, like, yeah, whatever. I think he went. This guy was going off at the time. By the way, he was raking, but still shitty move.
I just wish Donnie would have got a good one in.
yeah.
Donnie goes in after him again, but he, backed away.
He kind of took that helmet. Just bounced
He
right
took
off.
the helmet. He took it. But what are you gonna do? You don't expect that
No,
to happen
you
right
don't.
away.
Yeah, you don't.
That's why I wish he got one in. Because
You gotta listen to
got
the
the
music
cheap
in the
shot.
background. It's hilarious. They're playing like dance music, and you got the mascot on the top of the dugout.
Karate moves.
Yeah, doing and then I think they bust out some Sublime towards the end of that. But yeah, Donnie handling his own. I just thought that was funny. One of our guys.
He's having a great year.
He
too.
is.
They got a lot of young talent up in the big leagues. So
It's a good system.
well, if you're Donnie, you probably want to be somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I'm not saying he might get called back up. You know, he might be a September call up or something, but they got a lot of young guys that are good, and he'd say that too. But he's tearing it up. He's going to keep doing what he's doing.
Even to add to this, he got his first hit in the big leagues. Ramos did last night against Seattle. So go figure. Yeah, kind of crazy. And then a couple weeks ago, and I know it's kind of a dead story, but you and I talked about it. I'd like to get your thoughts too, Tanner. Baez, I think Pilar, and I forget the it was Lindor. Were thumbing down the Mets fans. And I know it's kind of a dead over story.
They were thumbing down, but nobody knew what it was about.
Yeah, they were getting booed. They were playing, honestly, they were playing bad. And even the owner came out and said, like, hey, man, they have the right to boo. You're not performing.
Yeah.
You're playing below your capability. It's getting towards the end of the season. I'm sure some guys are tired. I've never had to do it, so I don't know what it's like. But they started thumbing down the fans, and people got pissed. And Baez kind of flat out said, yeah, it was a kind of a F you to booing the fans back.
Yeah.
In other words. And you were kind of the opinion like, yeah.
Well, at first I was like, yeah,
because your perspective is from the player.
I don't think I would tell them that it's what it is.
Yeah.
Like he did.
Right.
I would have just done it and been like, oh, no, it's just our thing. Like, I would have just made something
inside.
up. I wouldn't have literally been like, yeah. I mean, you got 40,000 fans booing you. That's going to make it worse if you tell them that it's for them,
And it did.
Yeah.
Well, I also think if you look at it as like Baez and Lindor and Pilar, they're all kind of the star players of that program, and they've never been in the situation where they've been booed by their own fans. They've always been the ones that fans cheer for the most. So I think it's just kind of once they got hit with reality, they didn't really know what exactly to expect, and they're kind of always, since they're always the players kind of that are praised, they get a little too much. The ego kind of pushes towards doing whatever's in their mind. They want to do. So I don't know. I it wouldn't be something I would do, but I understood why they were frustrated, because it is like when you're a fan, when you're a player, you expect your fans to always back you up and be there for you. So it's just kind of one of those things that there was a thing about a couple years ago, maybe even decades ago, there were players that they weren't playing good. It was a good team, and they were talking about, it was like the exact opposite. They were like, they had the right to boo us. Like, we're getting paid to perform. I can't remember who it was, but it was just.
Wasn't it Jeter?
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah.
And the Yankees get a lot of heat.
Well, that's the other thing. It's the New York Mets.
Right.
You're in New York.
You're in a huge
Baez
market.
is from Chicago. The Cubs, where good or bad, they're going to accept you. They're not going to be happy about it, but I don't think they'll boo you. Cleveland, the Indians, same kind of situation as Chicago. They're going to love you and hate you, but they're not going to. Like New York, they'll hate you.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
They have different expectations. And the Mets made moves anticipating being a team to be there at the end.
Yeah.
And when you're underperforming, they can say what they want, but those are the people that pay your contract.
Yeah.
Like, they're paying your salaries. Without those people, I don't know. I look at it as a fan standpoint, and I've never played professionally. You have, and so I get where you look at it as a player standpoint. And I think you're right. He should have just kept his mouth shut and just left it.
I mean, they do so much stupid celebration stuff. You know how it is. Like, he could have just easily taken it and just been, oh, yeah, it's just we're doing something for, like, make something up, rather than be like, oh, yeah, we're booing back the fans.
Once the media gets a hold of it, then it becomes a whole different
They
thing.
amplified that even more than it needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
But again, then I think the next night or 2 nights later, they get a walk-off, on a hustle play from Baez to win a game. So that's why I say he should have just left it alone, because at some point you're gonna win some games, and you're gonna get out of that slump. They're gonna be on your side again. I agree. you want your fans to stay with you, right?
Well, you don't want them to hate you when you're doing good.
Well, right. I mean, look at the Baltimore Orioles. And this is what we talked about with the fans paying the salaries, and we've kind of flipped our idea on how much these guys are getting paid.
Yeah. And
are they really worth it? Like Baltimore had a 0.0 chance, which we tried to rally behind it not being a real thing, but they have a 0.0 chance of making the postseason. And Chad's like, how do you get people in the seats to go watch those games? Yeah. Do something, do a free Monday or a half Monday.
Do $1 Fridays.
Yeah.
Do $5 Fridays, I said, for big league games, where it costs $5 to get in, $5 for a drink, $5 for everything's just $5. Like you'll get so many more people to come to the game. I mean, instead of, you go to, that's why I love Oakland, even though they're not that good and it's not really a great place to go. It's affordable.
Well, they're good, but it's not a big market.
Yeah. But I mean, you just, get off in Pleasanton, take the BART in, you're right there. I mean, going to a Giants game, it's harder to get into the game with the parking and all that kind of situation. And then it costs you like $100 for food and a drink. So don't get me wrong. I've been to both places and the Giants is way nicer to go to, but I'll go to an Oakland game all day long.
Yeah, I just
who are they playing? Because it doesn't matter who they're playing; it's still going to cost the same. I'll go to an Oakland Yankee game, or you know what I mean,
Would you just went?
Yeah, I just went to the Oakland Giants game with one of my buddies, and I actually, for what everyone kind of portrayed Oakland Stadium to be, I didn't think it was that bad.
It's not for as long as it's been around and housing a football team and a baseball team. It has lasted some time. Yeah. Having been in the dugout when I was at Clovis West in 12, we played up there, and the dugouts it's insanely small.
Yeah,
I mean, there's wires like it needs some help or a new facility, whatever. I know they're working on that, but yeah, I think being creative to get these, get more people. You want to grow the game, right? That's what they keep talking about. Make it affordable, more affordable. You're paying your players $40 million, $30 million a year to play baseball.
That's why you're
now. Do
buying
you
a $20
now seeing how, because your thoughts on it and how you've seen play throughout the season? Do you feel any player out there is worth that kind of money?
No, not even Trout. And I said that. I was like all for Trout.
Yeah, we were on that. A guy got paid. Betts.
No.
Who's lived up to any? Bauer's not even pitching.
Yeah. Nobody will live up to that. And then we even talked about, Garrett Cole getting what he got. So you're paying a pitcher, any of the pitchers, you're paying them to play in 30 baseball games out of 162. 30. And nobody's going to win 30 games. They hardly win 20 games. So you're paying a guy $200 and some million to win at like 10 to 15 games a year out of 30. So he's not even 50%.
Right, half the time he's good. Does that make sense? If you look at it that way, we might be looking.
I mean,
I know I'm trying to just look at it a different perspective because don't get me wrong, Garrett Cole is really good, and you want him to go out every fifth day, but when the numbers show that he's not going to be a 20-game winner every year, you're paying him to lose 50 to 60% of the time.
And on any given day, he could have a career-ending injury.
Yeah,
as a pitcher. So I mean, we put in that perspective about pitchers only pitching about 30 games a year. That definitely it's a lot different. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, they get paid that much because they bring in that much money also. So I mean, I get that, but yeah, I don't know.
I'm just saying it's hard to put your head around paying these guys that much money.
Yeah.
Or even Harper, and I'm a Harper fan. I've always been a Harper fan. What he did high school, junior college to #1 pick and all that is unbelievable. And we might never see a player like that. But he is not worth what he signed for, the 300 whatever millions for 10 or 13 years. He's having a great season now. He's having an MVP season, but I don't
think it has to do with that's not even 100% of it. It's like this is an absurd amount of money.
Yes. Yeah. Why not spread that out?
What are we basing the value on? Because another guy got paid this much?
Yes.
Because that's what they're basing it on. Mm-hmm. Trout got this much money. Well, good for him. but I'm not going to pay you that.
And the only argument I have for Trout is, even though he's with the Angels, he has been the most consistent in his entire career.
Yeah.
Out of any of the players that got over 300 million.
Yeah.
The most consistent. And he's been hurt this year, but
He was hurt last year, too.
Let's be honest, he'll be up for MVP, healthy.
Yeah.
A healthy Mike Trout will be on a shitty team.
Well, and they've also got Shohei now, who's going to help bring in tickets.
Yeah.
What's
What's he going to be worth when his contract comes up?
Yeah.
Is he going to stay a
what,
pitcher? Is he going to do
I think
both?
he's getting like $3 million this year, $3.5 million.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's some gaudy money being made.
But we're paying for it.
But you look at some of the minor league systems, and there's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing. Like, I'm not saying these guys aren't superstars. I don't want to take away from their talent, but like, Jesus Christ, like, at what point do we say, holy shit, like, we're really paying this guy? Like you said, this guy's making $30 million a year, and he only has to be good 40 to 50% at the best.
Yeah. When you got minor leaguers, fending for their lives.
That's like, as a business owner, I'm not. All right, so I'm going to pay you this. I only want 40% of it to be legit.
Then they have to put in incentives, maybe. All right, if you win 15 to 20 games, I'll give you this much. Sure.
Yeah,
If you're under 15 games, that means you lost more than 50% of your games. I'm going to take away this much. I mean, but what player is going to sign for that if somebody's just going to be like, no, you know what? We're just going to give you all this, win or lose.
No, I mean, listen, these guys are getting their money, and who am I to say they don't deserve it?
And Garrett Cole's still
but
driving his Toyota Tacoma.
I just think it's a lot, when you're talking about wanting to get youth and young people into the game and make it interesting, and it's like, I don't know.
I just don't remember like growing up that it was always about money. It wasn't about what the players
It's
make.
always been.
But no, you didn't think about. When did we ever think about who was making what in the 90s? In the early 2000s.
But we were kids. Like, did you think about that? Do you care? Like, have you thought about that up until you've grown up and
But in high school even, I didn't think about how much guys. I didn't know how much A-Rod made. From
Okay,
the
so a
Mariners
good
to the
example
Rangers.
is you've seen the numbers Trout got. You saw the number Betts got, Bauer, Rendon, Arenado. Like,
I don't think I really noticed it until maybe 8th grade freshman year.
Okay, but you're a fan. Okay, right? You're a fan.
Yeah.
Do you watch a lot of baseball?
I watch a lot of baseball. Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of kids that we've talked to, they just don't watch a lot of baseball. So we'd probably ask that question and they wouldn't even know. Yeah, I have no idea about any of that stuff. Like what anybody makes or, they just, they'll hear who the Dodgers got. But thinking about that money now.
Yeah.
You're right. I never did.
It wasn't about money to be a big leaguer. I wanted to be a big leaguer because I loved baseball, and that was the highest you could get. It wasn't about, I want to go make $300 million for 10 years or, it was never about money. And now I feel like it's about that. Just like it's about my scholarship. It's about being a D1 player. It's about all this shit. When that's not what it's for. That's not why we play baseball. It's not for that shit. It's because you love the game, you want to get better, and wherever it takes you, it takes you. And I feel like that's what's being lost now. It's not about being good at it and just, I got this opportunity. I'm happy to have that opportunity. No, why don't I have this opportunity? Why can't I have that opportunity? Why shouldn't I have that opportunity? Rather than going and working for it. That's where I'm at. And I think that is what professional baseball is getting to now. I mean, my buddy just told me his brother's a scout for the Phillies, and he was in Visalia watching a game. Every guy in the lineup for the Visalia team was under 200 batting average. 1 through 9.
That's professional baseball.
That's what it's a strikeout or home run game. And it's bullshit for guys like me that took pride in hitting. And I still take pride in hitting. Big time. I mean, I want hitters. I don't want people to go up there and, we're going to try to hit bombs and strike out. I mean, guys in the big leagues, half of them don't even do it 20 times a year. And you're trying to say you're a home run hitter in high school and junior college? The fuck out of here.
I love that. I think that's pure. That's what a lot of people wish maybe the game was still that way. I mean, is that where you're at and that's how you approach it?
Well, I was going to say that. I think that's where social media has taken everything. Like that. I mean, everyone's so involved on what it will look like if you do this to the public instead of like being intrinsic about it and like being grateful for the opportunities that you get. Cause like, I feel like, I mean, there's certain guys that's just like, especially how young they are, like guys coming freshman, sophomore year, they're like, all I want is to like get this so I could post my commitment and have everyone see how like cool this is. And like, I don't know, it's like, it's the game of baseball. And that I know, well, we've talked about it too. It's just like, going along with hitting and everything. It's like, so many guys are just trying to get the numbers and everything. And that's one thing I'm grateful at Memorial is that with Delana and everything is that he's really taught us about just like how to be a team hitter and not a me hitter, you know? And just like going out there every day, grinding out at bats. Like if you get 8 pitch at bat and strike out, like that's better than going
It's
up there
still
and
productive.
just swinging
Yeah.
your ass off for 3 pitches and then going to sit on the bench. But yeah, and I know there's a lot of coaches around the valley that are like that, and they're still, I guess you could call it old school, but it's like it kind of is old school now, which is sad because so many guys are teaching, you know, just like launch angle and number boosting and it's just like, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of changed the game a lot.
My problem with it is that none of that number boosting stuff means you can hit.
Well, the thing is, what numbers are you boosting? What numbers
you're
are
talking
you boosting?
about? You're talking about like
Well,
XFB
home runs
low.
and yeah, like stuff like
Not
that.
batting average,
Not
right?
batting
Yeah.
average.
But even home runs, how many guys were home run hitters in high school this year? Like legit.
He was.
I know, but I'm just saying, like legit home run hitters. How many guys hit over 5 home runs?
You, Tobias.
Timo.
Yep.
Did Austin?
I
Or
don't
did he
know.
hit 4, 3 or 4?
Bernal,
Yeah.
Hirschkorn.
Yeah. I mean, not a ton though.
Yeah.
Not a ton. That's what I'm saying is like
For as
could-
many kids that are being taught that, not enough of them are boosting those numbers.
And we've seen all those guys' swings, and they're not all launch angle swings.
No.
Yeah.
No,
They're strong, they're big, and they have good swings. That's what's going to get you to hit home runs. Not launch angle swings will not get you home runs.
But what did you hit this year? How many home runs you hit?
11.
You hit 11. What was your batting average?
490.
You can do both.
Well,
Wait, you can hit
You can-
and hit for power?
Wait. You can hit 490 and you had the most home runs in the section?
Tied, right?
I thought
I'm
you
not
beat
sh-
Tobias.
I think Tobias had 10.
Did he have? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You were up there. I mean, you had to be one of the top. But still hitting 490, right? So we can do both, right? Out of all the at bats, you had how many at bats? 100 and probably 20, 30.
120, yeah, probably around 120.
So you hit 11. Now if you say you only hit 11 home runs in 120 bat, right?
Yeah, but give him 500 for
That's what I'm saying. You can hit.
yes, hit.
I was really surprised you didn't get drafted.
I had you as the top. I told Labby
And
that.
like I
told-
love Eddie too, by the way. Like I told you guys after our last game, I'm so glad that I don't have to play against Sagouspe.
Well, you don't have to play against anybody
I know,
anymore.
I'm done
You're
now.
coaching.
I
You're
know.
retired on top.
But I'm just like those guys. You guys were, and you know what you said about Delana saying team hitting. Like you guys really did that as a team. Like it was never a lot of guys striking out. Very competitive in the box. You guys really know how to hit at your ballpark, by the way. Using the like, I've never seen a team like just
use the right
they
field.
know where to hit and they know where to play defensively.
Yeah.
Well, that also helps when our coach has been coaching there for 20 years and,
Yeah.
and played there. But yeah, no, I mean I feel like that's like what really changed for Eddie and I our senior year is that our freshman through junior years we were always kind of like, you know, pull everything and like especially, you know, having the short right field for Ed and everything, but excuse me. But the thing that changed this year, especially for me, was just going oppo. I think a majority of my home runs were oppo, and not even at Memorial. It was like, well, somewhere at Madera South and stuff. But
Ours, you hit one. You hit. Did you hit one every game against us? I know
no, I think only
You won at your place and then the one at our place.
Yeah.
Palacios didn't give up a home run.
No,
he didn't.
That was the game that was like 2-1. Or
Yeah.
That's when you came in and
Did I pitch that game?
you closed it out. I remember. Trust me, I remember. It was a rough one.
But yeah, no, that's just like, I feel like that's what's been a big change. And like what's really helped Eddie step up his game too is using the whole field. And he's always been good about that. He's been a very raw hitter and just kind of like wherever it's thrown, he has the mechanics to just poke the ball anywhere. But really what our competition this year was who could hit a ball out first to center field, because we knew that if we would be late or get an outside pitch, we could still drive it the other way. And then if we were early, we could still pull it. But that was something that Eddie and I were really battling for, and neither of us got it at home because our center field's like 405 or whatever it is. But yeah, it's just like things like that, little friendly competitions that are good for your swing and good for your game.
Yeah, I like that approach too. I mean, that Chad preaches that.
Mm-hmm. So
preaches it.
Preach.
yeah,
Tanner Sagouspe
Well,
is our
Delana
guest.
preaches it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I learned from my dad and Delana. I mean, they're one and the same, I think. I mean, people don't understand when Delana owned the strike zone, the old batting. Do you remember the old batting cage?
I do.
On Blackstone.
Yep.
I was there all the time, and we need to get him on. I've talked to him about it, but he's still got a flip phone, and you know what I mean. So we need to get him on though. But he's definitely one of the best hitting minds that I've ever been around, and I've taken a lot of things from him. And it sucks. It really does suck, like you said, that everything has to be called old school because that is
it's the
that's
game.
the right way to do things. Though it's the new school that's it's just out of whack. But I don't know. Everybody wants to see themselves on how hard they don't want to do the work and they want to see how hard they hit the ball or how far they hit it or how high they hit it. They don't want to actually get in and do the work.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, do all that, and then let's see the numbers though. Right? Let's see what really matters. How productive were you?
Yeah.
Again, 11 bombs and hitting 490. Well, okay, that's pretty productive.
Yeah, Coach Delana told Eddie and I a story. I think it was right before season started about how there was a guy a couple years back at Memorial that he batted like maybe 260 or something, but he would, when there's a runner on second, he would hit a ground ball to second base every time. He would move over a runner. He was like their most productive hitter that one of the most productive hitters he's ever coached, and he batted him fourth every game, even though he had one of the lower batting averages. And it was like, and he's like, that's just how the game's played. Like, he had the most RBIs, but he had one of the lower batting averages, but he stayed in the middle of my lineup because he was grinding out at bats every day and doing a job.
Yeah, he was getting his job done.
And that's one thing I'm very thankful for Eddie, because if he gets a single, usually he turns it into 3 bases with steals and everything. So I think I had like 11 sac flies this year or something just with Eddie, just because he would get on base. And it was just one of those things that, I mean, that's just what they preach, is that you just got to grind out at bats and do a job and do whatever you can. I mean, our batting practice every day is like do it right batting practice, and he'll call out like, move the runner over, or infield in with runner on third base, or infield back with runner on third base. And he programs it in our head to just like, this is what the job is. And
It's random. He just randomly calls it out.
Well, he would do that
Or is it
sometimes,
within
but
your-
it was
your BP?
usually within our routine for
Right.
BP and everything. But some practices he would say like, hit it here, hit it here.
Put
hit
that,
it here.
put that. Not.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it pressure, but when you're not thinking about that
It's just
situation,
reaction.
then at that point it's like, oh, now I got a job
It's
to do
muscle
this.
memory
This
and
pitch,
reaction, yeah.
I've got a job to do. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just kind of what he's always been, which has really helped us as hitters and everything. So,
Tanner Sagouspe. He was a part of the Hit.OR.DIE Home Run Derby, first annual.
He was my pick.
He was my pick.
Thanks for
sorry
losing.
about that.
Really let us. The sleeveless was a good look, though.
He had a good look.
Now
He hit the most though.
He did. I mean, that
In the
was
round.
impressive. What was it? 2.5
19.
minutes? 18 or 19?
3
Yeah, we did.
minutes. Well, with
Yeah,
the
did we
extra
do
30
3 minutes?
3 minutes?
Oh, it was 2:30 with the extra 30.
With the extra 30.
So it was 3 minutes total.
Pretty good number. Pretty good number,
Appreciate
bro.
it.
Did you gas yourself? Is that what happened?
I don't know. I think what it was that I was trying. I feel like after the first round with Storm, we started kind of rushing it, and then the swings just became more and more like the mechanics were kind of down.
You're just trying.
because one of my little league coaches that's with me, with everything. He goes to every event, everything. He was at the home run derby and he filmed the first round, and he was like, when he was watching it, everything, it was Storm taking his time, kind of waiting till the ball landed and everything. But then once it got to like the nut cutting time where everyone was, the numbers were already thrown up and everything, and time was running low, it was just pitch after pitch after pitch. And I think I just got a little gas, and I too, I was like telling Storm, I was like, come on. But
did you use a legal bat?
Legal,
You
yeah.
did?
That's the bat I used all season, yeah. It's a great bat. It has pop. I'll give it that, but it was legal. Some of the bats out there, though, were...
I loved it.
Oh, I did too.
Well, we told you guys too that bring whatever bat you want.
Yeah.
We don't care. The more the merrier, whatever. But
The ball was flying.
I think Tobias used your bat too, right?
Yeah, Tobias and I, because Tobias, well, yeah, I think Tobias didn't even, or he brought a Woody or something. So he was like, he used the goods during season 2. So I was like, yeah, go for it. I mean, it's the last time we're using that metal bat probably ever, because
that was fun. We were planning on doing it again.
Oh yeah,
Got guys like Bernal. We get in there, and there's another kid,
Baca.
Baca. Get Murph Gray,
Monster.
yeah. Need to hit up Coffee.
Are you gonna open it up to underclass too, or not underclass, but like juniors? Maybe?
We thought about doing that last year, but there was enough seniors to fill the lineup.
That's true.
But I mean, with this class, Monster is going to be a junior.
Yeah.
Like we might have some juniors where we
Rain
might
champ.
do some. Yeah, you can rain and come back. It depends. We'll see what we got out there,
You got
or he
time.
even wants to do it.
Yeah,
We're
talking,
we're talking about doing it before the season.
yeah, we weren't talking about maybe opening
Like
up
a-
the season.
Oh
with
yeah,
like a
yeah,
kickoff.
that's what he's- yeah.
So, you mentioned family being Coyotes, going and playing football. Let's get into Tanner Sagouspe time. Was there at any point that you weren't going to go to Memorial? Because we were under the impression as coaches,
We knew
and you were
You're
younger,
one player that we always knew.
Like we had no shot at you coming to Madera. But you told me that in 8th grade, you practically begged to come to Madera.
Yeah, I mean,
You're putting him on blast.
Beg is
Memorial
a strong
teams.
word. Beg is a strong word. No, I'm open
8th
about
grade
all this.
now.
Yeah,
I'm talking about 8th
No,
grade.
I know.
Right.
Okay, here's my stand.
You
on
said really. He really wanted to go to Madera.
Yeah.
Not begged.
it.
I will correct
I wasn't
myself.
on my knees begging to go.
No,
but
no.
It was.
Hey.
It was a situation where at St. Joachim's and growing up, that most of my friends did go to Madera High, because I mean they didn't. I mean, most of them just fed into it. It was just growing up going to Catholic school, and those were all my friends, and I was I had a really good friend group, and I had a lot of kids that I was close with, and we actually went on that they had the middle school day or whatever where all the kids went to Madera High, and I was like with all my friends, I'm like, wow, this would be so much fun going here, and throwing out like education and baseball, not even thinking about those things. It was just something where I was like, Mom, Dad, I would like to go to Madera High. That's something I think that the next 4 years would be so much fun if I was able to go to Madera High. And they were like, it wasn't like they were like, no, you're not. It was like, we're planning on sending you to Memorial. They're like, this, you might be just kind of going through a little phase where you're really well, yeah, you're not even putting in the other factors and everything, which was true. And but the thing is, going to Memorial was never based on baseball or anything. I mean, going in, the year before they were 8-20. It's not like they had really anything going at the time where it's I want to be part of that baseball program. They had a brand new coach. Coach Sales just started there, and so it was solely based off of environment and education at Memorial. And I know you've talked about how in high school education isn't, everyone has their AP classes, so it's but the thing about Memorial that I'm very, very grateful for was that the one-on-one interaction and connection with the teachers and stuff. I mean, that's learning isn't just about what classes you take and what and counting up all those AP classes and everything. It's about actually learning, and that's what's big for me too, and that's a big reason why I also chose to go to Cal Poly and everything. But Memorial is very good about having that. I mean, a lot of schools, if you fall behind, the teacher could care less. They're like, it's if you miss a week, they're like, all right, well, sorry, it's kind of your own thing. You got to catch yourself back up. But with Memorial, I would be emailing teachers all the time, and and I was able to, you know, be caught up and say, hey, can I meet up with you here, to get caught up or whatever. But sorry, it's kind of going on a little tangent.
No, you're good.
But that's just like
because I think that's maybe some things people don't think about.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like when Eddie and I both came in to Memorial, it's not like it was the Buchanan reputation for baseball or anything. Like there's other factors that people don't plug in and think about. But yeah, no, I mean, yes, there was a point where I was like, I want to go to Madera High. I want to continue the tradition. I want to be the third Gouse to play football and baseball at Madera High. But yeah, it was just after a little bit of, you know,
hey, and you know
realization. And
it's okay.
Yeah. Oh no,
it's okay.
I still think Memorial is the best fit.
I would have loved to have had the opportunity to coach you.
Yeah.
But having said that, you know, watching you play and develop, and I think that's fair. You know, I think when we're talking about is, you know, academics also lies within the student.
Yeah.
Right. So, like Madera, people may, you know, knock Madera and whatever. Madera's got a really good AP program. But if you're not putting in the work as a student,
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter wherever.
And that's
go.
where anywhere. That's where it's like what you're saying. I totally agree with. But in my argument, and it could be wrong or right. I'm not always right, but I am most of the time. If you would have done the same kind of thing at Madera, you never know.
Yeah, and
that's where I'm saying you're a different student. You know what I mean? You're different. You're somebody that the school aspect doesn't really matter because you would go above and beyond to get good grades, to get to a Cal Poly or, you know, somewhere with good academics. So I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I feel like, especially like I wasn't a good student in high school, and if I would have put in that effort too, I don't feel like with school wise, I just don't feel like it matters. And I understand your teachers are different at Memorial. You probably have smaller classes even.
Yeah.
You know, so there is that more of that one-on-one. And a lot of the teachers at Memorial, they don't really have outside distractions. Or, you know what I mean?
It's a
With it being
different student.
school.
It's a different student that goes there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that and I agree with what you're saying. And I'm not just saying Madera High. I'm just saying public school in general.
100%.
I feel like for students that are not the best students or don't have as much drive academically, it's easy to get lost and like kind of fall apart or fall off, you know, when you're going to public school. But I feel like that's just like one thing I appreciate about Memorial is that they won't
allow you to do that.
Well, right. So I went to Fresno Christian, right? And so that's the one thing I remember is there is a standard to your
for academics.
Right. This is sports are not that important here.
Yeah.
We have them, but they're not that important. The academic side was this is what it's about, and this is what we require you to get through. Again, smaller class sizes, much more. Having that smaller class size, it makes that learning environment easy. I've been there.
Yeah.
So I get that. I guess it's just preference at that point. What, you know, I don't have a problem with it. I just I don't think anybody's put it that way. Because, you know, when we talked about this, about the recruiting thing, right? Yeah. And we had Buchanan's deal a couple weeks back. And that's when we talked, because we were setting this up. You know, Memorial's been lumped into that group of schools that do that.
Yeah.
Granted, there's really nothing against a private school to not do that. And honestly, I mean, how do you compete at that?
Well, where Memorial's located, what district is it anyways? You know what I mean? There's not really, it's its own thing. And that's where people have always been, oh, you hate Memorial, you hate JD, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, like they're allowed to recruit and they should recruit to be in that level of the athletic performance and all that. And they've always done that. I mean, we went to high school when guys were freaking studs at Memorial and, you know, so it's like, that they should do that. The thing is how it is portrayed to being done was a question that was being questioned. But to be a person that recruits at Memorial, that's fine. There's no argument against that.
Well, and having seen what you saw with the Buchanan thing, and I don't remember exactly where we had a long conversation. I just don't remember all of it.
Sorry,
but he wanted to. I know it was something that you wanted to talk about, and
well, I feel like one thing I want to go off of is that with Memorial being one of the only private schools in this section, it's totally different. Like, it makes it such a bigger deal if there's recruiting going on compared to like down south, because all those Catholic schools or private schools, they all play each other. So it's like they're all fishing for the best of the best, and they're all trying to get who they could get, and they're all playing against each other. So that's why it just when other schools see Memorial as like the recruiting school or whatever, it's like it just makes a big deal because we're the only school that's technically like allowed to do that, I guess.
Well, you have Garces
and Garces too.
But like, so the difference between those teams down south is like what I said about Fresno Christian, right? Because I've heard people say, oh, they need to put the private schools
Athletics
in their own league.
first.
Yeah.
Right. Well, down there, athletics are what make those private schools as big as they are.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not just about I mean, I'm sure it's a decent education, but athletics are what it's all about.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Well, even up north, those north teams that are really good.
Well, yeah, up north too. Yeah. But but what I think we were talking about was that everyone, like the public, was so focused on Memorial recruiting and all of them, like we were the only school doing it, that they lost sight of all the other schools, because everyone does it. I mean, it's a thing. Like, all coaches for whatever sport it is, it goes on, and I'm not saying, well, I don't want to say head coaches or anything, but like behind the scenes, it happens all the time. Like, I have friends that get text messages and receive DMs and everything, like what do you think about this, or even like talk to on the side, and it's like I mean, it happens everywhere, but I feel like everyone was just so focused on Memorial being the sole. So
is this like a breath of fresh air?
I would say. I mean, I wasn't even. It wasn't even. I feel like it wasn't a big deal to me, because it wasn't like I was the kid that kids were like, oh, like you got recruited and you like blah blah blah. Like,
yeah,
everyone knew.
I said,
knew
we knew you weren't coming.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
And I would defend that to
Yeah.
to other people. Like, yeah, well, no, he's not one of them.
No, yeah, like I
know of one. Okay, and we talked about this. I know of one player that was recruited, but I don't know where it was initiated.
Yeah.
I kind of know how it happened, but I don't know further deep details. So, that's the only one that I know.
Yeah.
Because I heard it from that player. So that's why I just asked if, seeing it happen.
Yeah. Well,
Like, I mean, seeing it, you saw this.
I mean, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, just like most players at every school don't know what's going on. But like, I didn't even know Coach Sales until the summer before my freshman year was the first time I met him. And it had nothing to do with, it was just, I was a kid coming from Madera to play baseball. He didn't know anything about
Did
me.
anybody come at you like that? Like, were people saying that? Or like,
I mean, people before,
adults, but I'm
No,
sure
like
players.
Yeah, like kids, they've considered me Eddie and I recruits or whoever, even like Charlie Monterosa. And Charlie, the thing about Charlie is that he moved from another country he originally lived here in Madera, but he reached out to the schools and said, I'm interested in going to high school here. Like, I just want to know more about high school. I'm an ambassador at Memorial, or I was an ambassador at Memorial. My job was for kids that are coming in, for if they played, normally they match me up with kids playing sports and everything, but my job was to tell them about the school. And Charlie was one of those kids, and I was like, hey, I have a job here at Memorial. I'll do what I can to, give you all the information I can give you about Memorial. Nothing to do with baseball or whatever. Like, if they want to do like that stuff, if there's stuff that happens there, it goes on behind the scenes. But it's just like everyone just it's an assumption, because that's kind of what we're, the recruiting school. So it's like people will assume like so and so's recruited when they're not. Like, I've heard people say like Magdalena was recruited. He went to St. Anthony's and he wasn't even a baseball player. I mean, he played baseball, but he was a football player,
Right.
But it's like, I don't know. I mean, obviously there's stuff that goes on, but it's not like I've been in that situation to see, like, I know that's going on. I know exactly how it's going down. It's just, I don't know.
You're looking at me like you want to say
You're looking at me.
Well, because everybody says it happens everywhere, and I know one place that for sure doesn't happen because we've lost more players than almost any school in the Valley. We don't. I've never messaged.
I think it happens more with the track schools,
Yeah.
Memorial, Bullard, all the big schools. Nobody's gonna be like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go to a Division III
Sure, I get that.
school.
Well, and since that we put that little response out to that, like a lot of people have hit us up saying what you said. There's kids all over the place being hit up, and it ain't just Buchanan.
No.
Okay, and my thing with like I made a comment about the track, how I wasn't trying to knock the track, like how good is the track, right? But if the track is so good, why are you hitting up players outside of the track? Why would you hit up a Washington Union player then at all? Why would you need to do that? Why would a kid from another city need to move? Why?
Well, it diminishes the competition, which
But how? It's not an absurd statement to say.
Yeah, no, yeah.
When
Does Buchanan-
you're literally reaching out
Does
to
that
kids.
one kid have to worry about, or does Buchanan have to worry about that one kid at Washington Union?
No, they'll never play him.
That's what I'm. Yeah.
So why reach out to him at all?
Yeah.
Because you have Clovis, you have all the kids, you're already good enough, right? Why do you need that kid? Because he doesn't live there. He's not going to play in the track.
Yeah, I feel like it just becomes an ego thing.
So don't. It's not an absurd statement to say that.
Yeah.
And if it is, then stop reaching out to kids that are outside of Clovis.
Yeah.
That's all. Back to you, my friend. Football, baseball. You guys want to go back to back in baseball, and recruiting's starting to happen. And Cal Poly is now going to be where you call home. Mm. What went into that decision, and kind of were there any other schools in play for you?
Yeah. So after my sophomore season of high school, I came off a pretty good season and was having a good summer, and I kind of had fundamentally and mechanically everything was kind of going for me. Like I was feeling good. My swing was where I was producing the best in game and everything. And so that summer, my sophomore, going into junior year, there was a lot of schools reaching out. Like I wasn't even talking to Cal Poly then. It was more, I got my first offer from UCSB, and then I was talking to Stanford and like Pepperdine, Arizona, Fullerton, all these other schools. And it was like, it was kind of like, I felt like a peak at a point where everything was kind of just going right. And I got injured. I ended up blowing out my knee. It was I think it was right in July that summer. And so I was out for 6 months and completely got ghosted by nearly every school. And Santa Barbara, because it actually happened, I received the offer the day I blew out my knee, and I had to call Santa Barbara the next day and say, hey, this is what just happened. And they were actually kind of like, whatever, but we want you to commit this week. Because I had area codes coming up. I had this big Stanford camp I was going to, and all that blew out the window. And all of it happened so fast because nowadays kids are getting recruited like 8th grade freshman year. Like all this stuff just started happening the start of that summer before my junior year. So all these things were being thrown, and it was overwhelming, I'd say, but it was like so hard to just say, I'm going to decide to commit here after it's been maybe a month of all this recruiting just going down. So I was not ready to commit to Santa Barbara. And I know that they have a tendency to over-recruit a little bit, and there's been guys that have ended up going there and being sent back or getting cut or whatever, even on scholarship. So I was like, that was not really – it was obviously a great offer, a great first one to have, and it definitely to hold leverage for other schools and stuff. But, that after that happened, every school I was talking to, which I was very high on Stanford because it was just for me academically, it was like, that's where I want to be. But yeah, all that fell through the window. And then since I didn't commit in that first week, they kind of just started ghosting me to Santa Barbara. So I think it was and then I came back around fall, wintertime of my junior year. It's getting back into the groove of things. And then season started. It was COVID year. I didn't have as great of a start to the season. I was pitching pretty well, but I wasn't hitting that great. And I was like, shit. Right when COVID hit, I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, my options are kind of all like blown away. So I think it was a month into COVID, I was, I tore my labrum that right when COVID started. So I was like, shit, like what am I going to do? But I started reaching out to a few schools and Coach Sales was always helping me and reaching out for me and kind of talking them through and everything. And I was just putting in the work, like sending them videos. And I was like, I don't care if they think I'm like annoying them. Like I just like, I want to show them I'm putting in the work. And it's
until
not like
they tell me to stop, I'm not going to stop. Yeah,
exactly. And it wasn't like I'm posting on social media,
uncommitted hashtag.
Yeah. Like I was like, I'm going to reach out to schools. I'm not going to be like begging them for anything. It's just like if they ask me, I want to see a little bit of you hitting or fielding. I'm like, okay, I'll give you once a week. I'll give you hitting if I was hitting with Labby or whoever. And then finally Cal Poly ended up, they were like, we want to watch you play one more time in person. And this was during COVID. So they're like, well, COVID's like supposed to be done in a month. And obviously it still hasn't.
It's not done.
And so yeah, but I was just kind of praying. I was like, I really hope that they'll finally pull the trigger. And I had a lot of people, talking to them for me too, and just kind of because they saw me a little bit, but it wasn't like they've saw me like recently as much as more like my freshman sophomore year. They were kind of looking at me, but yeah. So they finally offered, and I was like, it was a pretty perfect fit for me because we grew up going to SLO and Pismo and everything like all the time, and I love the area and everything, and academics was like a huge part for my decision and everything, and I also had an offer to St. Mary's too, but it just kind of wasn't the right fit for me, I don't think. I didn't really want to stay in that small school circumstance and everything. Well,
you're comfortable. Like you said, you traveled there as a kid.
Yeah.
You kind of know the area.
Oh, exactly.
You're familiar with the area.
Ins and outs and everything.
You know what you're getting into academically too.
Yeah.
And it's a good baseball program.
Yeah. No, yeah. And
it's close enough where mom and dad and friends can go watch. Like it's the best of all. Was Fresno State ever an option for you? Like, what was the number? Did you have a number one or like?
I wouldn't say I had a number one. I mean,
Stanford.
Above all, yeah, Stanford's probably the number one, but it was such like I don't know. It felt like such a high thing for me that I wouldn't say like this is my number one. It was just like if it happened, yes, 100%. But it was like I was more kind of like UCLA, USC. My brother went to UCLA too. He just graduated last year, and just going to visit him and everything, I was like, this would be so much, like this would be such a great time. And then I feel like I was more West Coast oriented throughout the early years of high school. I was like, I want to be on the West Coast. But like, I feel like if I was to make a decision, if my options were a little more open, like this last year, I would look more into like maybe some Texas schools or something. Cause I was talking to Baylor a little bit too, but yeah, no, I think Cal Poly 100% was such a great fit for me. And, academically and Coach Lee has such a great reputation with that program and everything and hitting wise and stuff. So I was just like full throttle, like, yes, this is it. But going off of Fresno State, I mean, I was obviously open to any options, but I didn't get too much like interest from Fresno State. It was like kind of we'd talk here and there, and but there's nothing too like serious going down there. And it was also a hard time for recruiting because it was during COVID, so no one could see anyone. But But yeah, but I was definitely open to anywhere. But
Chad.
School didn't matter. I didn't care. I was going. Heald College didn't offer me, so I went to Fresno City.
No, I'm excited for you, man. I think it's a good fit, and
And they just upgraded their facilities.
dude, their ballpark is really nice.
Yeah.
Real nice, man.
I mean, a lot of people they don't. It's been really good that the Big West got their contract with the conference.
yeah,
That more people are going to be able to see Big West games because I think the Big West Conference is kind of undervalued a little bit. Just because it's pretty much a bunch of the small California schools and they're not even small in the aspects of baseball. They're small in just their school's small. Like they're just small colleges. But the baseball side of it is very competitive.
Absolutely.
To where it's probably the third or fourth best conference in the country.
Well, you look at like Irvine and Santa Barbara and Long Beach and Fullerton in past years, but it's competitive.
And you add Bakersfield to that mix. I'm telling you, Bakersfield is going to start moving up the list, and they're going to start getting these recruits that nobody expected them to get.
And even Northridge too.
Yeah.
CSUN was good last year.
Serrano's there doing big things. So I just think it's an underrated conference that is going to be seen now, I think, with the contract they signed with their TV contract. So I think it's going to be great.
Now, So a topic got brought up to me via Facebook message regarding vaccination. And I know Brock kind of said Stanford you had to get it to get back on campus. Mm-hmm. Are you guys in the same boat?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they. My coach told me he's like, he asked if I was vaccinated or not. Well, he asked all of us if we were vaccinated or not, and I wasn't at the time. This was also while I was on the East Coast for summer ball, but he pretty much said like I respect whatever decision you make. It will make it harder for the team, and then it got to a point where he was like, hey, if you're not vaccinated, you could be on the team, but you will not have access to the weight room, the field, or in-person classes. So you could pretty much live on campus and get tested every day and have your name on the roster online, and that's pretty much it. Like, you wouldn't be able to play this year. Originally, it was like, you can't travel, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to get it no matter what, because he's like, I'm not going to play anyone that I can't play 100% of the season. So if there's like conflict that comes up with flying or traveling to other schools, you're not going to play. Like, might as well just like redshirt. And so, so it's pretty much like you decide what you want to do, but you can't do anything if you don't get vaccinated. So I would say that.
So it's pretty much you can't decide what you want.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
They're telling you what to do without.
Well, so
telling you what to do.
this message was regarding junior colleges, and now the junior college route is requiring that you have to get the vaccine, and I don't know. Not big on this.
Well, especially with junior college, you're not. How far are you traveling? To play games. How far is anybody in a plane flying somewhere?
My thing too is like, if you're requiring all these kids to get it, like you are required to get it by Cal Poly. I mean, you're not required to,
But you are.
right. But they're saying at the JC route that you have to get it.
Yeah.
Right. What are they responsible if
You have a reaction?
Right. Who's responsible at that point? Because reactions have happened. Mm-hmm. Some serious reactions have happened. Like, who's liable at that point? Now, I shouldn't be the student or student athlete.
Yeah.
And that goes for CSUs, and it should go for any private school that decides we're requiring this.
So my wife's a lawyer, and I've actually had this conversation with her, even though I'm vaccinated. So I got vaccinated, and I don't agree with it. So this is where it's kind of. And he was like, what'd you do? Even I didn't even tell my wife I got vaccinated. And I came home and she was like, I never would have thought you would have got vaccinated. Which in reality, I wouldn't. Yeah. I wouldn't get vaccinated. The reason I got vaccinated was a couple of coaches on the coaching staff at City got vaccinated, and because they were on-campus teachers. And it came out that from our trainer, if you were vaccinated and got COVID, you would have to sit out your time. But if you were vaccinated and you were in the close contact, you wouldn't have to sit out. So I was in that thing like, well, we had one instance where there was a COVID positive, and luckily it was in the like right before the season started. But if during the season it was going to be like whoever's not vaccinated, you're out for like 10 to 14 days. And with the COVID season last year, we were playing 4 games a week. You're pretty much missing a third of the season. Yeah. So that was my decision. Plus, it was given at Costco, where I work. Mm-hmm. I could just clock out and go get my freaking shot. Yeah. You know, so that was another factor. Was right there. Nobody bribed me. Nobody, you know, like they're doing now. They're trying to say, "Oh, we'll give you
$50,
you know,
whatever
an incentive." So
yeah,
that was the reason why I went and got it. But I don't believe that you should have to be like And with that, talking to my wife about this is because a lot of even businesses were like, you can't work for us, or like in the hospitals, you know, especially the hospitals where they've been through the whole COVID not vaccinated, and now they're making them vaccinate to be a worker in the hospital, which makes no fucking sense whatsoever. I was talking to my wife, like, what can you do legally? And the thing is like, you can sue them, and there's nobody that's willing to be like, there's not enough people that are willing to sue their company or whoever's making them make that decision, because it's technically and legally wrong. Yeah. Somebody cannot make you take this, or you got a red shirt, or take this to work at Costco, or your job's done. Like that is inhumane, and it's against everything we are as Americans. Yeah. For somebody to say that. But there's not enough people that are willing to sue a company or sue their job or sue their school. Or, I mean, could you imagine if all of Cal Poly was like, oh, we're just all going to sue the school? And it would work, though. That's what I'm saying is like that would work. Yeah, but nobody's going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody can afford to do that. You're not going to take on the state. I mean, that's...
So legally, they can't make you. But if you really want that opportunity, you're going to do what's best for you to have that opportunity, because you're not going to get enough people to come together.
Well, I would just say I want it in writing then. Okay, if something happens for me getting this...
Like a contract.
Yeah, then you're liable. If I can't step foot on this campus until I get this shot, I want to know that if something happens to me and it's traced back to this shot or COVID, you're responsible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of my friends that is also going to Cal Poly, this was still while we were in high school, like at the end of our senior year. Cal Poly was sending out, well, all the CSUs were sending out emails, and they were like, you are required to be vaccinated if you want to come. Like, you could do online school, whatever, but if you want to be on campus, you have to be vaccinated. It's a requirement. And so it just seemed like odd that they could even say that it was going to be a requirement. So he actually called in, and they said that technically they can't force you to do anything, and they have to tell you that they're not, like, they can't make you do anything. But they said that it can be mandated once the FDA approved it, which was this was way before. And so that's why I was like, no, I'm not doing, like, I'm not going to get it. But
I still don't even know if it's been FDA. It's emergency use.
I think Pfizer
was one of them just recently.
Yeah, but which is the one I got. But I was like, I mean, I'm not an anti-vaxxer at all. It's not like that, but it's like,
the proof isn't there. That's even worth it.
We're not either. I'm vaccinated.
Yeah.
I'm not anti. I'm also.
I'm not pro.
I also believe that people have the right to not get it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And who am I to say whether they're wrong or right about that? It's whether they, for whatever reason, people can say, "Oh, well, that's a stupid reason," or "You're crazy." What? Who are you to say that? Who are you to say that? That's their right. If they don't want to get it, they don't have to get it.
Yep.
Right? If people don't want to drive, they don't have to drive. We're going to force people to ride bikes or get cars, or I mean, no, you have the right to not get it.
Yeah.
I just think, and I think,
but no, that's what he said is true.
Yes.
So like they couldn't keep me out of going to class because I'm not vaccinated. Just because you require me to do it doesn't mean I can't go to class. I'm probably going to have to wear a mask though. I'm going to have to get tested every whatever. But like, and that's the thing is you're putting, like on the baseball side of it as a coach, you're trying to do what's best for the program, even though I don't know Coach Lee, but what if he doesn't even believe in it?
Right.
But he's trying to do something to ensure that our team as a whole is always going to be together. Because, as we know, that's the biggest thing in sports, is being cohesive.
They're forcing kids and their families to make a choice on their future, essentially. Like, I want to play baseball. I'm on scholarship to play baseball or football. And now you're saying I can't do so unless I do something that I really don't want to do.
Yeah.
For my own personal reasons, not for political reasons, not for conspiracy theory just because I
people don't even get
to.
the flu shot.
Yeah. Right.
They're just like, oh, it's the flu, I'll wear it.
So now the kid's got to make a decision after committing and school starting where they can't go anywhere else. Yeah. And again, you can learn online. If you're gonna mandate or force kids or require kids to get vaccinated, you better offer an alternate way of learning for kids that are going to that school that choose not to.
You're also paying the same tuition.
Yeah, it's absurd.
Sit on your
behind
ass
at home, right,
and watch a computer screen all day. But I mean that's the thing. Like I had COVID last November or whatever, and I was just right now in my life, I was not like I really want this vaccine. Like I wasn't against it or anything, but it was like when everything's stacking up against you, I was like, okay, now I just need to get it. And Coach Lee's been very good about just feeding us all this information he can to allow us to make our own decision and everything. And he's constantly texting us like, hey, this just came out. Like we want you to make the decision that will be best for the team. And that's what we're going to college for, is to do whatever we can to provide for the team and do whatever's best for the team. So I got it, and I was like, it's going to make my life a lot easier, and it's going to make the team's life a lot easier. So
that was, nobody forced it on you. That was your right to do so, and I think that should remain the way it is. Yeah. And I don't see that. I'm hearing what I'm hearing, I guess.
You had COVID, you said. How was it?
I knew I had it. The night before I started feeling everything, I had like a headache, and I went to bed. I woke up at like 8 a.m. for school on a Monday, and I had like a 103. Like I woke up and I'm like, I have COVID. I told my parents, I'm like, do not come in my room. I have COVID. Like I just know I have it. I said I was sick. I'm like, if I have COVID, do not come in my room. And like knowing my mom, she's coming in. She's like, oh, and they both got it. But it was seriously like I woke up that morning feeling pretty like just 103 fever, not feeling great. Went to bed for like 3 more hours, woke up fine. And I had like a little bit of a stuffy nose or cough or whatever, but I woke up fine, and then it was like the longest 10 days of my life.
Oh, I know.
Not leaving my room.
Try doing it with a wife and 2 kids.
And being
under
vaccinated.
5. And being vaccinated.
Yeah, I know. So
the longest fucking... It was 2 weeks, by the way. It wasn't just 10 days for me.
Yeah.
Fucking ridiculous. No, but what I'm saying is COVID, everybody like... I'm not saying it's not real. I'm not saying it's not real. And I'm not saying it doesn't affect...
If you felt that way, you wouldn't have got vaccinated.
I'm not... But it affects every single person differently. Just like if... Now, I was a baseball player, so I chewed tobacco, right? I could chew tobacco one time and get lip cancer. Or I could chew tobacco for the rest of my life, like Pete DeLana or my dad or, Big Chaws and whatever, and never get cancer ever again. You take the risk by doing that. Smoking a cigarette. Some people get lung cancer that never smoked in their lives. Other people get lung cancer or don't get lung cancer that smoke their whole life. You know what I mean? So like with COVID, yes, it's a real thing, and it affects everybody differently. Like I said, he's way more healthy than me, but which kind of scared me when I first got it, because I'm a bigger guy. I'm overweight for what I used to be, and I never got one respiratory issue the whole time. And that's what it's supposed to attack, is your respiratory system. When I went to the thing, they're like, oh, your breathing's fine, you're this, and I'm like, really? Like I thought this was supposed to fuck me up. Like whether I have vaccination or not, like you still get the virus and it's still supposed to affect you.
Yeah, there's a responsible way to handle this.
So that's what I'm saying is like, I think everybody's freaking out, and I know people have died from COVID, but there's also a lot of people that die from everything else that we never talk about.
And people have died from the vaccine too.
Exactly.
So it's like,
which the vaccine still isn't FDA approved, by the way. So, I mean, it's you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And that's why I feel like as Americans, and we don't get political, and we're trying not to.
The first time we've ever.
We're trying not to be political, but as Americans, we feel like we should make the decision ourselves, whether we want to wear a mask, whether we want to get vaccinated, whether we want to take precautions when we go see people, or even them. Like I go see Jake, you're not comfortable, then you wear a mask if you're not comfortable, or vice versa. Like that should be the person's own belief and how they feel. I think everybody's freaking out. And I know people that have had issues. I've been fortunate. I've had anybody have issues close to me. So I don't know what the death thing and all that feels like. But when are you going to just want to live your life?
yeah,
And not be scared to go out and live your life? And we're taking away from these kids. Like a lot of these people out there don't understand how fucking terrible it is to be at junior college with the roster that we have. Because kids are still there after 3 years, after 4 years. Are now like at the Division I level, at the 4-year schools, that's just packed because all these kids lost out on a high school year, and then they decided to give them back fucking 2 years pretty much in college. Like they don't understand how we're risking the future of our generation, which we've blamed for our generation, but we're risking them being able to succeed in life because, I don't know, that's just how I feel. I mean, you guys could do it. I don't get political, but that's just how I feel. I just feel like live your life the way you want to live it. If you want to live it being precautious and wear a mask and all that, fucking fine. And if you don't, then you don't. Like me, if I get it, I get it. That's how I looked at it. And guess what? I got it. And I still think the exact same way.
Yeah.
Because it didn't do shit, whether I'm vaccinated or not. Yeah.
Well, my thing was that I would have been more open, I think, to the vaccine if I knew that you couldn't spread it, because my whole thing was like, if I'm not able to spread it, then with the vaccine, then I'll get it, because then I feel better about being around my grandparents or being around people who do have underlying conditions.
Yeah, it's a selfless thought.
It's just kind of like it.
But it doesn't do anything.
The symptoms, but
you
still get it and you still spread it, and it's like it hasn't really solved anything at all. And then it'll affect the people who do have underlying conditions that aren't vaccinated, and it's like, I don't know, it's just kind of a double-edged sword a little bit, and that's
why people do things responsibly.
Yeah.
Like Chad said, if you feel like wearing a mask is necessary, by all means do it. If you feel like not going out or whatever the case, don't do it. If you feel like getting vaccinated, please go get vaccinated. And if you don't, for whatever reason, don't. That's fine. I'm not going to hate on you if you do. I'm not going to hate on you if you don't. I don't think you're crazy. I am. Who am I to judge anybody? Right? I just don't like I don't like the fact that things are being forced on kids that affect
or people in their jobs
or anyone.
Yeah. You're right. Anybody.
Like I feel really bad for the hospital, the nurses and all them that are being forced into taking it to keep their jobs when they just were like, we need more nurses to help with the hospitals. But now you're like, no, you have to do this or you're fired. Like, that's fucking bullshit. They just put up with all this and now you're going to get rid of them. I feel bad for them. That situation.
Yeah. I don't know how they're going to handle all this stuff. I don't know the right answer to tell families that are this, in particular message. I'm with them 100%. And I don't know what the answer is. I would fight it for sure. I would, if it were me and I didn't want to get it, I would not be forced. I would not let an institution force it on me. And I would look into the options or routes to fight that. Just because that's what I believe in. Yeah. And again, I'm vaccinated, so I'm not saying I don't believe in it or think it's a good or bad thing. That's not the debate. I think the debate is that you're forcing people to do this against their will.
Well, yeah, and we have little kids. You know how hard it is to take our kids to kindergarten and have them wear masks? This is the crucial time in their lives to communicate, which is one of the biggest fucking problems in our world right now.
Monster.
Is communication.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do?
My daughter-
We're going to take communication away from our young kids in elementary school.
When my daughter did her assessment, the teacher had a mask on, trying to get her to read or hear the pronunciation of the words, and she's like, "Well, we can't see her mouth. Well, this is what are we doing here?"
I'm telling you, it's bad. It's worse,
and it's
for the
becoming
kids.
their reality. This is normal, everyday life. But I got that message from a parent about a athlete at a certain junior college that's going to be required to play athletics to get the vaccine. And I don't know how much further till somebody does fight it.
Yeah.
At some point, somebody's going to have to step up and push back. But
And it's not going to be one, though.
and listen, we have never done this. We brought it up before we started recording, and I just thought maybe we could get what happened with Cal Poly and your thoughts on it.
Because a lot of colleges are doing that.
Yeah. Like I said, Brock said they couldn't go back on campus.
Bakersfield's doing it, and
I think all CSUs are.
we had Bell on a little while ago, and he's a firm believer in not, and he's fighting it, and he's gonna get a medical exemption.
Exemption.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know the word. I thought you were fucking smart.
I don't know.
I went off of your word, thinking you were right.
You can't do that to Chad.
Gosh, dang it.
Yeah, there's another thing I want to finish with this. This is going to be probably our longest episode, dude. It's been
We can
fun.
split it up if we have to.
Yeah, no, just how much I like this guy.
Could have been a Yodi.
Dude, don't remind me.
Royal Blue.
Don't remind me. I know you like coming to our new ballpark, though, right? Looks
I
good.
do. I like it. Yeah, I love it.
You raked there, by the way, at Labby's workout.
He did.
Yeah. No, I'm not kidding you. That's when I always knew you were good, and I knew you were a good player. But when I saw you there with the other guys that he brought in, you can really see who was ready for that level and who stood out. And that's where I think for me, and this is nothing against Eddie, he wasn't in the right time. Because he's the power. Everybody just was dropping bombs, and Eddie's a field guy. He uses the whole field, and I just feel like that workout really let me see his abilities. I don't think he's ready for the professional level. That's why I think Long Beach State is really good for him, and I'm happy that he's going there.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to do great things,
Absolutely.
and he's going to be a draft pick in 2 to 3 years or whatever. I don't know what they're going to let him do.
Yeah,
now.
hopefully these guys can play.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing that stops these guys because, like, he's a guy that definitely in 3 years, like, he could have been drafted this year.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have been surprised.
No.
At all.
I personally think that him going to college and getting size on him and getting that experience,
That weight room.
it's his draft stock. I mean, hopefully he does well, of course, but I think that it could drastically help his draft stock because
100%.
he's one of the best pure players all around I've ever played with. And I think the only thing that was holding him back was size. I mean, he has the speed, he has the glove, he has the swing, and
he's smart. You know, he knows he's aggressive.
baseball smart.
Yeah, he's got a good IQ
The
on
instincts.
him. Yeah,
He's going to go get in a weight room and get on a program. It's going to help him out 100%.
Yeah.
But I think what I was getting at with it really made me, like I told Labby, I was like, dude, he should be drafted. Like I have him down as the best guy in our section drafted after that workout. Seeing you hit with the dudes you hit with. Like it wasn't even here's a high school guy hitting with seniors in college and it didn't even look like it was a difference.
Well, and it's like, so you say that about Eddie and then watching Murph, right? Murph's got size and tools.
But he wasn't ready.
He needs some more maturity hitting wise and getting more ABs. But he's got all the other stuff, and that kid's gonna be fantastic.
No, I'm excited to watch Murph.
He is fun to watch, man. Yeah. He's an impressive kid. If he goes to state, I mean, I hope so. But again, just kind of the opposite there, where he needs some more ABs.
Yeah, I think he also. I mean, Eddie's.
I thought the same with Coffee. Kid's got good tools.
Yeah. And
he was kind of like spraying. And then you see guys that are like, no, there's a difference here.
The guy from San Jose State.
Dude,
he was in his own category.
I mean,
he went fourth round?
Fourth round to the Orioles, I think.
Yeah. I was like standing next to him, and then having him and Eddie too. Like, it was like
That probably wasn't a fun group to have to hit in.
No, he held his own.
Yeah, he did.
That's what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
He held his own.
I wasn't hitting him on the 50-yard line.
No,
of the
he
football
was-
field, though.
Like effortlessly going over the
Yeah.
hitter's eye.
It's because he talked to me right before.
Yeah.
I was like, look, I've coached here. I've played here. This is what you got to do. You know.
Yep.
So.
You know, the old school mentality. You played football, and you seem like a tougher kid, especially mentally. You know, Trent Dilfer was in the news for basically getting a kid to the bench. I don't know if you saw this. He's a former Bulldog, played in the NFL, won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. Is coaching high school football. Had an incident with the player where the kid it was an emotional. Something happened. I don't know if he was going at Trent or another coach, but it basically video of him getting to the pads, to the bench to sit, and it was, Chad.
That's when the kid threw the helmet, and then
So people don't understand is that kid is Phil Dawson's son. Phil Dawson, NFL kicker,
Yes.
which is the special teams coordinator of the high school that Trent Dilfer coaches. And I don't know why this doesn't show the video, but here it is. And I think Trent Dilfer could have done way worse with the way the kid was acting.
Yeah.
I thought he handled it well. I didn't see anything wrong with it. A lot of people say this isn't the day and age. This happens now.
Yeah.
And my response to that is, why not? Why do we as coaches have to change the way we are?
Yeah.
This is sit down, and then he throws his helmet down. I mean, why as coaches do we have to change the way we do things to have a kid act that way? It's not okay.
Here's my take.
Go ahead. I want to hear this.
I think that the problem today, if you want to play football, especially at the next level, that's your least of concerns to be tough. Like, that should be like, I don't know. You're getting your head bashed every single play on the field. Like, if you're really worried about a coach disciplining you, like, you're not going to make it anywhere. Like, toughness is not just a physical thing. It's a mental thing. And I think the problem is that the people outside of football are the ones judging it. And they're like, this cannot happen
Or
today.
non-athletes,
Non-athletes, yeah. It's like people should not be treated like this, or like that's like, you're a grown adult, you shouldn't be doing that. But that's what's going to take kids to the next level. You have to have discipline to play at college or professional ball, whatever sport you are. So I don't know. I feel like the judging always comes from the outside, and it's like, and that's the media. That's like that's what's being portrayed by what everyone's seeing, and why all the people are like, that's wrong. But that's football.
And you don't see the whole.
Exactly.
Right. You don't know if this
Yeah,
kid just
exactly.
cost his team 15 yards.
And Trent took the blame for the whole thing.
Yeah.
He came out and said it was my fault. It never should happen. And I'm like, you shouldn't have to say that.
Yeah.
What's wrong with faulting the kid for acting like an idiot, probably maybe costing your team something, and you trying to discipline him? You shouldn't have to apologize for that. And I guarantee you his dad did not have a problem with you doing that. And that's kind of what frustrates me, because guess what? When you go on to college or professional baseball, nobody gives a fuck about you. Nobody. I don't care if you're on full scholarship or what. If you're not there to help the team out and win, because guess what? It's my job. My job's on the line as the head coach. And if you're not doing your job, I'll fucking let you know about it. And I'll put my hands on you. Maybe not in a way that I'm going to strike you. But I mean,
so I guess that's with that video, that's the maybe the issue to analyze, right? Because you had Coach Garza, the former Fresno State softball coach. The story came out where she was apparently physical with another player
Well, only one-sided story.
And we never, there's video, right? You see this.
Yeah.
Right? And he's got him between the pads. What's his common? You grab
Every
a kid.
coach, every coach has grabbed a kid between the pads, whether to show him something or to freaking be like, get your head out of your ass. I mean, it freaking happens, dude. Yeah. I'm sure it happened to him in football at Memorial. That happens. It's part of the game. It's part of coaching. You're not like, yeah, I'm going to fucking knock your ass out if you...
If you'd have slammed the kid onto the ground or thrown him into the bench...
Yes.
Like he just sit down.
Sit down.
Like, and with Garza's, again, we don't know for sure, but it was said that she shoved a girl up into the dugout, which I don't think you do. Is this the same kind of we don't put our hands on player? Is it the same argument? Because I'm not for putting hands on kids, but I see that and I'm like, well, he wasn't trying to hurt the kid. There was
if he did that to my son,
pads on.
If he did that to my son, and it was called for. With the situation, which knowing Trent Dilfer, and I know him, but I don't know him. Like I just know who he is, and I've heard enough of him speak, and he's very open with his religions, being religious, and all that kind of stuff. And I actually gave my life to the Lord with Trent Dilfer at a FCA camp back when I was 10. So I've followed him like his whole career, and I have much respect for him. And he's the type of person and coach that he wouldn't do what he did if it wasn't warranted. You know, and if that was my son and it was warranted, I would have no problem with it. I'd probably my ass would be down there grabbing his helmet and saying, you're getting off the damn field now. You're going to disrespect me as a father. You just disrespected not only your coach and your teammates, but you're disrespecting me and how I raised you. And that's what people nobody's worried about that. No, they're worried about a coach being disciplined because a kid's acting like an asshole and an idiot. That's where I have issues. My dad would whoop my ass.
Yeah, I would have probably got pulled out of the game. Like we would have been done. I would have learned the price to pay and how I hurt my team.
And your family.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm trying to separate the two incidents, right? Because we say you shouldn't put your hands on a player.
But we don't know Garza's story.
Right.
Nobody's confirmed the player's story that she came out with. Nobody's confirmed it. I've even tried hitting up some of the other softball players. Nobody will confirm the story or deny it. So what does that tell you? If nobody will confirm or deny her story.
I mean, maybe some of the facts aren't.
And then the coach gets let go, but then gets hired right away by Nevada. That does not happen if the story the player said is true. It just doesn't happen. I don't care what you say. I'm not going to go hire somebody that's going to throw somebody up against a wall.
Yeah, I just got
and physically abuse somebody. Or like it's not a misdemeanor, but what is it? Like
I don't know.
You know, come on, smart guy. What is it? Assault somebody. I'm not going to go hire them. You know what I mean?
No.
So that's why I can't put the two.
Well,
and
him
together.
being a football player has been in the news, and I skipped it, but I just like you're a football player, like you've been around.
That's
emotional moments.
Yeah.
And football coaches are a lot more aggressive. I mean, JD's pretty aggressive, but you've had football coaches are a lot.
He probably should have played football.
JD?
Yeah. Did he play football? Do you know?
I don't think
he did.
I don't think he did.
He's got that mentality.
Yeah.
He could have played football. But I mean, you've been in that situation, I'm sure, and I'm sure you've had moments where your coach had to get in your ass a little bit, and that's okay.
But that's what you need. That's what I mean. When even growing up playing football, that's like what I needed.
How many times, whether it be baseball or football, or even mom and dad, where you get disciplined, like how many times did you repeat that same thing? Like for whatever it is you got disciplined for, did you just go back out and do it again?
I mean, no.
Right? So it worked.
No. Yeah.
It worked.
Especially if it was something that was like, that happened not on purpose, but it's something that like could have been prevented, and then I've been disciplined for it. It's like I will never purposely do something along those lines.
It's a maturity kind of thing. Yeah. Something you do something, what you do at 15, you're probably not going to do at 18 because you know better. Yeah. Right? There are consequences to how you act. Mm-hmm. Like you said, if it was warranted and he got his ass chewed, okay. Yeah. It is what it is. So I wanted to pick your brain on that. I knew Chad wasn't going to have a problem with it. Chad being old school. I forgot to also talk about you guys. Great season, and then you get into the playoffs. And
Well, he did probably is okay with you not talking about it.
I know,
it's fine.
but I want to finish the career. It's not a knock. I'm not trying.
Well, I mean, who didn't want to see a Memorial Buchanan?
because
actually, who didn't want to see a Bullard Memorial game to go to the championship?
yes,
Who didn't want to see that?
because
first?
you had that final week of league, and
where
that's-
you had to win 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
and you guys got it done
Yeah.
with some controversy in there.
With I wouldn't say some. I'd say quite.
How was that?
That was
Was that at Bullard that happened? The pitch count thing?
that was at Bullard, yeah. And that was kind of like it wasn't something that was like planned to happen because I know even in travel ball there's been instances where we've gotten disqualified from playoffs during a tournament for a team is waiting for us to throw one too many pitches and they're like, hey, call them out for it. But at Bullard it was like I can't remember what the score was at the time, but we were losing, and it got to, I think it was when it was 8-2 because I think that was the final score, and we were like, holy shit, they're still pitching. Like Schneider's been pitching this whole damn game, and we're like, and Coach Sales was like, what's this pitch count? And so they checked it, and that's what we had, and then we're like, well, technically it's against the rules for what happened, and so they kind of just called it out for it, and then I think it was kind of like an in the moment thing, and it turned into this whole it was like that week was probably the most fun week I've ever had in my life.
Well, you guys are the two best
Because
teams
that was
in our
game
league.
1, right?
That was
game 1?
That was game 2.
That was game
so
2.
the first game was
So it did come down to the third game.
Yeah.
Whoever won.
Right,
Yeah.
winner
Yeah.
take all.
so yeah. So I mean, if they would have, I don't know the right word, but if they would have made Bullard lose that game for.
Yeah, if the protest was
If the protest did go through, but they said you will
There's
continue
no-
the game from his batter before he went over the count.
But see, that's not what the rule
That's not the
says.
rule
said.
says.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The
So
rule,
that's
the rule
why
says
it was
it's a forfeit.
because I know Coach Sales found out during the right before the third game, during senior night, he's like, oh, they just said that we won the protest, but this is the rules
But
that are going
didn't
by or
win it.
whatever. Exactly. So it wasn't worth that time. And if we would have won that game with it just wouldn't be the
Feel right.
Because it would have been
not
at least a
right,
share, right?
Yeah.
At that point,
Well-
if you win,
Yeah, if we would have won that and then
Lost.
it'd be the same circumstance
Right.
that it was after we won the third game. But it was none of us, we were all kind of hoping it fell through because we were like, no one really wants to win that way. And then
It might have been different too if it was 2-1
exactly, yeah,
or tied, or you know what I mean.
no,
when that
exactly.
happened.
If it was
But
still
8-2,
if it was still 2-2,
it was
when
what the
happened,
7th
then-
inning.
Yeah, it
8-2.
was the 7th, yeah. It was or
I'm not saying you
opposite,
can't come
top
back,
six.
but let's
No, yeah. The odds were stacked. It was just, yeah. It became a bad deal. And that was right after that game. Mikey Bell got kicked out. And it was just there were so many things going on at the time that it looked like it was payback, which, I mean, if I was an outsider, I would see it that way too. But it's just there's so many little factors that went in. And it was it was just crazy. That game was all over the place. And that night on social media and everything, I'm sure you guys saw it. It was,
oh yeah, I loved it. We were
Oh,
talking
we
about
loved it.
we
It
were
was
talking
all
about
all the burner accounts and everything. Just
oh,
reaction.
yeah.
It was.
we were
hilarious.
talking. I was telling Woody, we were like, hey, let's ditch. Let's go to the game before the South game. Let's have somebody else come throw the BP to our guys. We want to go watch
Yeah.
that Memorial Bullard game.
Yeah. No. It was that. The last game though was probably. It was so intense and it was probably one of the most intense circumstances outside of the Valley game my sophomore year. That one was probably the most that was crazy. But that series was probably the most fun baseball I've played in my life. And it was there was no funny business. And that's also what we've talked about before too, is that keeping that competition, keeping kids on the teams that they grow up in and stuff. It's now I feel the classes coming in, kids are trying to join their travel ball teammates and it's killing the competition. I would die to be on a team where I'm like the guy. Like if I was at a Division I team where, you know, the team's they haven't been that great, and like you have the opportunity to be the guy on your team, I feel like that's what you play the game for. Like you want to be that guy. It's not like you don't want to leave a program to join a super team. You know what I mean? And it's like, and that's what's happening a lot. And I'm not saying it's just in the Valley, it's everywhere, but it's like, I don't know. And that's the thing. Like what I was getting is that Eddie and I and Josh, like we're all great. Like some of our best friends are on Bullard's baseball team, but that week, those games, we absolutely hated every player on Bullard.
Friendship took a back seat.
It was like, we did not give a shit about any friendships or bonds that we had beforehand. And it was like, and that's what made it the most fun baseball, because right after all that stuff went down, all the controversy, we went back to our everyday, like there was no like beef there. It was like, we all have just graduated high school, finished high school. This is high school baseball. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be intense if you make it intense. And it's just like, it's not that serious in the end. It's
on the field, it's personal.
Exactly.
Right? It's war. Like I want you to lose. I'm here to pound you. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean I hate, like off the field, we're fine. Whatever. Yep. Like Chad and I talked about it. You know, we played at a different time. The track was different. Yeah. So when I played, Madera was in the track.
Bullard was in the track.
Yeah.
And it was legit hatred. Like,
yeah.
I wanted.
But at our time too, we didn't really like the people off the field.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but we also didn't have
like we played Clovis West. We were at Knees and at Taco Bell after the games, or we'd go to the basketball games and talk shit to the baseball players during the basketball game, even though Bullard's getting trashed because they suck at basketball. But we're like, we'll see you at Taco Bell after the game. That was what we did. That was the time. And then we go to Taco Bell and some people got mad enough and got in a fight and like shit happened. The cops came and like, that's just how it was. Like we weren't boys with everybody. Yeah. Like I had boys like Donald and Prieto and Sedoyan and, you know, that kind of stuff. But there was a hatred for other schools. Yeah. Not just like, we're going to beat your ass on the field, but like, I better not see you at River Park at this time, or, you know what I mean? Like, but that's what made it fun. And now I'm friends with some of those guys that you didn't like. Like I didn't even like Underwood in high school. I didn't even know him, but I didn't like him because he was cocky. He was really good. And I wanted to beat him every chance I get. Now he's one of my best friends.
Yeah. You didn't want him. You don't want him to think he was that good.
No, if I thought he was that good and treated him that way, then he would have had the best of me. Yeah. He didn't get the best of me.
Yeah.
Not in high school.
Not in high school.
After that, I maybe got one hit off him. Yeah. I remember at City, I didn't know.
But I think you're right too. I think it you know, there is something to that talent in the competition. Like you're just going and pounding on everybody.
Yeah, it makes it no fun. There's no rival if your rival's not like a competitive team. You know, it's
more fun to play 2-1 ball games than 10-1 ball games. It just is. Oh, yeah. It sucks playing. Oh, we beat this team 10-1, 10-1, 10-1. Now we gotta really step it up and play this team. We'll 2-1 game, 3-2. Yeah.
Well, that's what I think the problem was, which we were originally talking about with the playoff game, is that I feel like we gave so much to that Bullard series, and we were just mentally so into those games that once we got to a team where we're like, 15 seed,
we should roll them.
Yeah, we should roll through, like, whatever. It was like once we got behind, it was like it was so hard to get our minds right and just get into a game like that.
You had to get right back into that.
And it was
mode.
like it was so difficult because the last game we played was one of the most intense baseball games any of us on the field have ever played. So it's just kind of like, and Slow was a better team than they were seeded, and it was hard to seed them because they didn't play anyone from the Valley. But it was just, once we fell behind, it was like, I feel like we just showed up to the field like we were going to win, and it didn't go well.
Yeah, but see, that's not easy to admit for some teams or for players, like I can say that when like our playoff run, the first thing we talked about with the why not us stuff is like the number in front of the team literally doesn't matter. No. And like our focus was never on that. We talk about it after now, considering what we had to do to go on the road and win. But it was always like that means nothing at all. Don't invest any energy into the number in front of that team. Because on that specific Tuesday, they could be the number 1 team.
Yeah.
You don't know who's showing up.
Yeah.
And that's with our playoff format. That's just how it rolls, you know. And you guys have been on both sides. You've been there and celebrated on the mound or at home plate after, you know, winning it all, and then, you know, to exit in the first round. It would have been even better to see Buchanan fall. Just because that would have been a shocker for they were
both
there.
of them were right there.
I think everybody would have been blown away by that. That's what I mean. I don't, you know, have my feelings, but that just goes back to when I played. I hated Buchanan. I hated Clovis West. I hated Clovis. I hated Bullard. Bullard and Madera had a massive rivalry.
Yeah.
It was bad. There was stories that like people as a kid growing up, we would hear stories that like the home plate on our JV field was the old Bullard home plate. And like we would just oh dude, they would just say all kinds of stupid shit to just fire us up about. I don't even know if
That's all right, we can afford it. You guys gotta steal it. We can afford it over there at Bullard.
But yeah, I just
that was like an 8th grade home plate anyways. You guys can have it.
we dug that up and got rid of it right away when we heard that. So no, I like what you're saying with keeping it, you know, competitive, right?
Yeah.
There's no need to leave. You can win where you're at.
Yeah.
You know, dude, I appreciate you. We've actually smashed the record for our
Smashed the record.
our longest podcast. I had no idea.
I did. That was the first time in 2 years that we've been off for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks. So we had to make up for it.
Yeah.
And we waste your time doing it. I hope everybody has Labor Day. So I hope everybody had a good Labor Day. Go check out Thumb Pro. Again, use HIT.OR.DIE code for 15% off, free shipping. Go subscribe on YouTube. Go check out the Jason Donald video of the almost perfect game. And keep an eye on this guy, Tanner Sagouspe at Cal Poly. And congrats to Mr. Bell. Also now committing to Cal Poly too.
Exciting.
So that's cool. We have a friend there in the next year. But good luck to you, man. I'm excited to see. We'll have to make a trip up there. I know we go to the coast a lot, so I'll sneak away now that I have time. And,
Cal Poly talked to me when I was at City, but then they looked at my grades and they're like,
this guy's got no shot.
no shot.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, no,
It's a good time.
I'm glad you did it, dude. And I appreciate you waiting us out the last couple of weeks. But again, thanks to everybody that listens. Go subscribe, download, and continue to follow the podcast. Tanner Sagouspe, episode 126 of the HIT.OR.DIE podcast.
HIT or die.
HIT.OR.DIE.